And I said, God, whatever you want to do with me, if you'll equip me, I'll do it. He brought me out of a rice field to a pulpit. From mud to a mansion. Hey, thank you for tuning in today. Mud to a Mansion. Today I've got a very special guest with me. If we have a lot in common, and that's not a good thing. So, but he's my one of my best friends. I may be my only best friend. I don't know. He may not be my best friend, but I've got. I like to think we are, but we've done a lot together. I mean, man, you could do a podcast for a long time. And talking about all things, we've been there, done that.
Yeah, I said a while ago this ought to be like bloopers.
It's just we're going to start right now. This is our bloopers. He should have put on the screen that it was bloopers because that's we're going to have how many minutes we're talking, it's going to be bloopers. But I appreciate Brother Robert. He's on the way to preach a revival, and he just swung by here. I've been trying to get him come down or whatever, and it's hard to get good free help. Oh, did I tell you this was free? Well, I'll buy your lunch or something. But we hooked up, and I don't remember what year you got saved. I was at Saffel serving.
2001.
2001,
yep.
Brother Robert Randolph. I remember the night on a Sunday night when he walked the aisle and went down to the altar, and then he come back, and then he went back and he got it fixed and got saved.
Second touch.
Yeah, second touch. Yeah. Well, the best part about it was that one of the neatest things was I'll never forget reading my Bible, and I seen in the corner up there, was it First Kings or something like that, where he preached tonight. You got saved, brother?
He preached going to Gilgal.
Yeah. I was sitting there reading my Bible one day at lunch, scouting rice fields, and I looked up and R.R. got saved. And, man, I couldn't wait to tell him because he couldn't remember where he was preaching at. Brother Wright,
I couldn't remember the text. I remember the title, but I couldn't remember the text.
Yeah. Well, that was a special night. After that, gosh, we just
all
become
downhill
best
from
friends.
there.
I know it's uphill. It is downhill, yeah, ever how you want to look at it. Sometimes it's good to go downhill. Sometimes it's good to go uphill. But we got to be really good friends. And then he surrendered to the ministry not long after that. And,
I got saved on July 29th, 2001, and I surrendered publicly to the ministry the first Sunday morning in September, same year, just a few weeks later. Yeah.
Yeah, and then every time you talked about it, it made me feel, because I felt like
I asked Brother Curt one time. I come out. We was going to church together. I got saved down there at Saffel. Him and his family was already going, and I come out one Sunday. I don't remember if it was morning or night. We was all standing out there beating up on the preacher out there in under the drive-under. And I said, Brother Curt, I said, let me ask you a question. You ever feel like God's calling you to preach? And he said, oh, no. He was quick. He was quick to say no. But
I didn't really lie to you. I really didn't.
God used me. Yeah. So if you don't like Brother Curt, it's my fault. God used me to put that thought in his mind.
Our whole church would appreciate you for that.
Not all of them.
No, you're right. They, I think it was a joke. I ain't sure. But we have, not long after that, after you got saved, we'd go down Johnny Wright's. He was single then, and we'd go down there and watch NASCAR every Sunday between church services.
Man, we was eat up with everything. We was younger then, too.
See, we had a good time. But, man, we had a good time. Roger would come over, son, and your brother Roger, and gosh, we all had such a good time. We really did. And there was a time, and he can tell you a little bit about his testimony. There was a time I couldn't fellowship with him. Just because where he was at, but man, when he got in, we just hit it off. We've been best friends ever since. So
I remember when we first started in the ministry, we didn't know how good we had it.
Yeah,
a bunch of us would go up there, drop our kids off at school, and we'd sit up there at Jerusalem or somewhere uptown, and we'd talk for a couple of hours about church and all that stuff, and until somebody's wife called, and then we had to go get in trouble.
We had to had other jobs to do other than just talk about stuff like that. But
we've been talking about it ever since.
You remember we went to the hand out tracts, and we went. I don't know why we started in Hardy, Arkansas. And the very first guy I walked up to and handed him a tract, and I said, "Hey, how you doing today?" And I said, "Here, I'd like for you to have this." And he looked down at that, and what he said, I'm not going to say on here.
Yeah, don't repeat it.
But he basically told me something that wasn't very nice. And I remember telling him, I said, well, I'm 0 for 1. I mean, this didn't go good. That was my very first one.
You can hear stories about soul winning and handing out tracts and preaching and all this kind of stuff. But until you get out there and get in on it, oh, my God. I remember we started Hardy that day. I guess we worked our way all the way to Jonesboro.
Stopped at Quick Mart, ended up Indian Mall.
Yeah. Ended up at the Indian Mall. And I sat down of course, I ain't been saved very long, man. I didn't know how to religiously profile people. This woman sitting there with her hair up in a bun and a blue jean skirt on, And I sat down and handed her a gospel tract, and I said, "Are you saved?" And man alive, saved, sealed, filled with the Holy Ghost, and baptized in fire. And I thought she was going to start speaking Ashwashandai, some of that stuff.
Something you kind of got,
and,
you
I
didn't know
thought,
what that meant.
She preached to me for about 15 minutes before I could get away.
Yeah. Somebody asked us over there, remember asking us if we was bicycle riders?
Yeah.
And we went, no, we drove over here in a church van. And then we realized, I guess that's the Mormons maybe.
See, we were so stupid you couldn't even insult us.
Yeah. Well, we did. We really just knew Jesus, and Jesus loves you.
Yeah.
And in the van on the way to Indian Mall, y'all asked me, said, "Hey, Brother Curt, when you going to surrender to the ministry?" And I said, "When God calls me." And boy, I guess that was, God goes, "Oh yeah, okay, that's easy enough." And boy, it wasn't long after that I was in, and they need to know we have our spiritual gift is criticism. We're good at criticizing. We can criticize. I wish we'd had like questions sent in or something, and we could do some criticism. So we're real good at that.
There's a lady told me one day, she said, "You're very opinionated." I said, "Well, thank you." Well, then we got home, and my wife, she said, "That wasn't a compliment, it was an insult." And I said, "Well, I'm still too stupid to know when I'm being insulted." But I tell my people at church, up at the Highway Baptist Church, I say, "Look, if you're mad at me and you text me, you have to tell me in the text I'm mad, because I read love into everything."
Yeah.
I mean, I just think I'll send back, if you say I hate you, I'm gonna kill you, I'll send back LOL.
Yeah.
Like
that sounds about right.
So so if you're mad, you have to tell me.
Well, you said too that when people send you a text that says we're not going to be at church Sunday, you said you put okay.
Yeah.
Not because it's okay, but because you got the text.
Message received. That's all that means. Message received.
I told Sandy the other day, was talking about some people in my life that a lot of people just don't like. I don't know, and I've got along with them fine. And I said, I wonder what that is. She goes, well, because I said, some people it's just a jerk. I get along with fine. I don't know. I mean, they respect me for some reason. I don't know. And she said, maybe it's because you're a jerk.
Takes one to know one. That's what I was thinking. She's right. Sister Sandy's right.
Yeah.
And
I'm good with that.
That's why her and Miss Tiffany get along so good.
Yeah.
They're both married to jerks.
Maybe that's why we like each other. I don't know.
Maybe.
Yeah, you're but when you got, just a little bit about your testimony, because I know it could take a long time, but I mean it. Just let people know. You truly came. I always say this: mud to a mansion.
Yeah.
Your mud was out there in that life of drugs and things, and and I watched you completely change what God did. And went from mud to a mansion. So.
Yeah. Like the psalmist said, he brought me up out of a horrible pit. And I was in the pit of alcoholism, and I was in the pit of drugs, and just ungodliness, you name it. There I was, the lifestyle and all that kind of stuff from a long time. Without going too much detail and things like that, but I just started using drugs, and I was about 13, 14, something like that. And a couple of grown men uptown. I was up running around one night, and uptown, it should have been home with their wives, but instead they was up there giving dope to kids, and anyway, but I'd have found it eventually, and it just kind of went from there. And then when I went in the military, and of course I, drank all through high school and all that kind of stuff, and my mom was in heaven, so she done knows, and I don't, Dad, and he knows quite a bit, so.
I'd say he does.
Yeah, he knows quite a bit. But I was talking to him the other day, and I was asking him some questions, so I blackmail him if he messes with me too much about it. But anyway, and man, I was just a mess in high school, and just drinking, and then when I went in the military, believe it or not, I tried to join the Marine Corps. They wouldn't take me because I had too many alcohol-related tickets.
Wow.
Yeah. And so the Navy let me in.
Yeah.
So I went and joined the Navy, and got stationed out in California after boot camp, A school, and all that stuff. And man, I got on meth, and meth, LSD. I mean, my goodness, you just all that stuff, and bars and all that kind of craziness, and run-ins with the law. Everything that goes along with it, and my wife, and we had one little girl already before I got out of high school, and they were living back here in Arkansas. And then they come out there for a little while until she got pregnant with our second child, and they moved back home. I was going out to sea, and so they come back home. But anyway, and then I got out of the military, and on my way home, I got arrested in Little Rock Airport with a bag of meth and a bunch of other stuff. And anyway, I spent 3.5 years in federal prison over all that. Got out of federal prison, And we went to church a little bit,
Yeah.
you know, and Tiffany stayed with me. God bless her. I'm telling you, she got saved before I went to prison, and man, she stayed with me through all of that. And but she told me when I got home, she said, I'm done with all that.
Yeah.
I'm done with it. And so, but I wasn't.
Yeah.
You know, I wasn't, and I was willing to lose everything, I guess, just for a high and chasing that lifestyle. But I had 2 kids, you know, and lived right by the church. Matter of fact, had to drive by the church, and if I seen the pastor, his brother Keith Wilson at the time, if I seen him out there, I'd turn my head the other way like I wasn't looking, and I'd drive right on by. But and then I got out of prison, went to halfway house down in Little Rock, Arkansas, and got in some trouble down there, and so they put me in Pulaski County Jail. I was in there for 93 days, and that was the worst. That was worse than 3.5 years in prison. I mean, that was terrible. They call it gladiator school down there. And they put me in there with a 19-year-old kid from New York City that just got sentenced to life in Arkansas Department of Corrections. And anyway, and of course my wife, she said, I'm done. We're done. In the meantime, I was living out of my truck before all that stuff, and because I got out of prison and I went through the halfway house, and then I was put on what they call supervised release, parole basically. And well, I had 19 dirty drug tests while I was on parole. Parole officer come to my house one day, told me I was going to go back, and I told him if he ever come back to my house, I was going to kill him.
Yeah.
Well, of course, you know what that does.
Yeah,
you know?
that didn't help.
So they took me and they sent me to court, and the judge, she should have sent me back to prison really, but she said, look, you got a wife and children who need your income. So she let me go to the halfway house for the last 93 days, and so I could still support my family, but, you know, stupid me. And so here I was, 30 years old, and made a mess of my life and our finances and all that stuff. It was just a mess. And so during that, I was down there, and our pastor come and seen us, and my wife, Tiffany, she came see me one time. She said, I ain't come back, look at this. I mean, little old, like a phone booth, talking on telephone to her, and in the background you can see those tears and all that kind of stuff, and the cell blocks and all that. And she said, I ain't never coming back here. But she said, we're done. It's over. We're done. So one day I was laying in the cell in there on that concrete slab, and all of a sudden something come to my mind, and I thought, for the wages of sin is death. And I wasn't thinking about godly things. I wasn't thinking about just for the wages of sin is death. And see, when my mama died, I got mad at God because she died, and I was just mad at God. And so I thought, the wages of sin is death, and who's the big proponent of sin is the devil. And people die because they're sinners. And I thought, you know what? It ain't God's fault that my mama died of cancer. It's the devil's fault. And man, that just a light switch went off, and I jumped up and ran out and grabbed the phone and called my wife, Colette, and I said, honey, I've figured something out. And anyway, and so she come and got me, and whenever they let me out, was on the way home, and I asked her, I said, what can we do to fix this? Well, how can we salvage our life? How can we salvage our marriage? She said, all I knew to do is go back to church. Yeah. And that was in March. The next week, the church at Saffel was having revival, and I went every night, and I heard that preacher say something. David Phillips from Puxie Cove, Missouri. I heard him say something, and he said, if you can't go back to a time, the date don't matter, the hour don't matter, but if you can't go back to a time, that place when you got saved, you're probably not. And I struggled with it till July the 29th and got saved that Sunday night. Yeah. And man, it all changed after that. I'm talking about God started putting my life back together, putting my marriage back together, and just opening doors, and God called me to preach right after that. I mean, it was the next week I'm driving down the road thinking God's calling me to preach, and I don't, but anyway, and then I pastored a couple of churches, and moved to Missouri almost 15 years ago.
Wow.
And started Highway Baptist Church, and y'all was our sending church. And Brother Curt hired, and Maple Springs, they was our sending church and supported us. And man, we couldn't ask for more help. Yeah. And there's been hundreds of, maybe thousands of people saved in the last 15 years through all of that. And I've been to Honduras on mission trip, been to Philippines twice on mission trip, and get to preach revivals. Like Brother Curt said, I'm on my way down to preach revival for a couple of days, and I got 4 revivals this month in October. 2 of them are jail revivals. Yeah, so I get to go in there and preach to them folks.
Yeah, they ain't going nowhere.
But man, God's just been good to me. I mean, I'm spoiled rotten. I feel like I'm one of God's favorites. I mean, just my marriage. We've been married 35 years now. Yeah. My kids, I got 5 grandkids. They're all in church every Sunday. My son-in-law pastors a church, and And man, I got a great church at Highway. Them people love me.
Yeah.
They would. Most of them people up there would take a bullet for me.
They would.
And some of them shoot a bullet at me, but the rest of them would take a bullet for me. But man, God's just been good to me.
God's been good.
And God, you use an idiot. It's all about willingness.
It is.
If you're willing to let God use you, God will use you.
Yeah. We're just country boys. We read every book, listened to every cassette tape of people that's built churches, and
Absolutely.
picked up something from all of them. But at the end of the day, you got to be faithful. And we were, when he went to Missouri, God laid on my heart to send a missionary out. And it's a long story, but the guy gave me the card up in Missouri at a McDonald's. I'd been preaching for Brother Jerry, and he gave me a card. He was a piano tuner, and he just said, you know anybody that needs a church building? I'm like, no. But for some reason or other, I kept it at my desk, and I kept getting the conviction that we need to do something on the mission field. And I went to looking for that card, and Brother Robert we was riding around together, and him going, I feel like I need to go
We'd been
somewhere.
to Newport Prison.
We had that night. I remember where we was at early when we talking about it. I said, well, let me and it was nearly like I had a burden, and yours was different. I don't know why but one day we finally put it together, and I said, would you be interested? Because Brother Randall was my assistant, and he wasn't.
It started out going to Spokane, Washington.
It did, yes.
There was a
I went
mission
out
up
there
that didn't have a
went.
pastor, and so you went out there, and then it wasn't very long. I went out there and kind of auditioned or whatever. And they didn't want me, which knowing what I know now, they really didn't want me.
Well, even with me out there, it's just a different work. I think people accept people from their area better
I would
than
be
they do.
unaffected.
We're Southern, and we are what we are.
Yeah.
Man, not picking on either one, but wonderful.
We pick on them Yankees.
They're gonna pick on us. But we talked about it, and I called and it just went from there to.
I was preaching a watch night service here. It was
you did, yes.
2010.
Probably so.
2011. I mean, it was that. It was turning into 2011, and I was up there preaching about Isaiah. And I said, whom shall I? God done been messing with me about it, And I said, whom shall I send? Who will go for us? And God said, I'm talking to you. And I couldn't even. I just stopped. And nobody knew it but me and God. But I stopped, and I was like, wow. I don't know. So on the way home that night, I asked Tiffany. I said, well, would you think I was crazy if I thought God calling me to a mission field? And she said, yep. So, but man, he just worked it out.
I remember me and Brother Randall went up there looking for the building, and finally I kept stopping everywhere and found the building. And I'll never forget this. Some reason, at one time or another, there at Poplar Bluff, I was sitting in the McDonald's parking lot, me and Brother Randall. I guess we'd obviously went in there and eat, or fixing to go in and eat, but I'll never forget.
I'm sure there was some eating involved.
There was some eating, but we was sitting in that parking lot, and I remember talking to you, and I think that's kind of where I was like, hey, if you're interested, let's
Brother
let's
Randall
pray
ain't
about
coming
it.
up here. God don't want him here.
No.
And I thought, well, he wants me up there.
Yeah, and it was just if we just put all the pieces together, God only could have done it.
Absolutely.
And now they've got, you ought to see the I call it a spread with the building and the fellowship hall and your house, and we just got to be a part of something awesome and mighty.
Oh man!
And then Brother Randall's stories later, and then now we got Brother Ethan that we're wanting to send back. It's just a blessing that we could financially, and that's what it is. We turned you loose and let you pastor it, because it's a church and it's a pastor.
Yep.
But we just financially supported you to where y'all could get started, and wow, it just took off.
And those people up there, some of them get it, but most of them still don't get it. What God done, what God put together. Now I pastored Corinth Missionary Baptist Church in Grange, Arkansas for 3 years or something like that, and man, God used it. God blessed it. Folks got saved. Now I went over to Tuckerman, over to First Landmark for about 5 years, and God blessed that, and God moved me from there up to Missouri, and I hope I don't never have to move again till I move to heaven, get to that mansion. But man, it's just and I could tell stories. We could be here all day telling stories about what God has done. But like I said, it all boils down to one thing: that just being willing. Being willing to let God do something with you.
I don't ever like to do this even in my life, but it happens every day, and it happens. Me and you both still probably do it at times. We fight God with a conviction.
Oh yeah.
And we weigh it out, and
I hide my fleece so I don't even have to throw it out.
Yes, but just think, if you in that down there when that thought came to you, the wages of sin is death. Think there's any one little thing could have slipped, and you could have done wrecked your life, not had your wife, kids,
Right.
nothing to do with you.
Yep.
Who knows what would have happened? Them
I'd
people
probably
up
be
there-
dead and in hell
I don't
now.
even like thinking that, but
Yeah.
but man, just from your decision and these people watching, somebody may have a decision to make that neither one of us thought we was qualified to be a pastor.
Wasn't.
as far as
Wasn't. Or,
no,
now
I mean-
biblically qualified,
yeah,
but
but I mean, I thought I can't do that. Somebody else does that. Somebody else does that, and God's blessed our ministries, and it's no more. I think the willingness and just saying, "Send me,"
yeah.
and I don't know how I'm going to do it. I don't.
Well, and if God's calling you to do something, if it's something big, what we consider big, anything
Yeah.
God calls you to do is big. But if God wants you to do something, here's what we done: seek counsel. I mean, we talked to people that we respected,
Yeah.
and
A lot
that's been in the ministry longer than us. People
Yeah.
that had sent out missionaries. It don't mean we done it the way they done it.
Yeah.
But get some counsel.
Good advice.
And
Yep.
just do it. Just get some
But you gotta
counsel.
go.
Don't get ahead of God, but just get some Bible counsel. Get some, and just do it. But don't, because and here's the thing: I preach that message, domino effect.
Yeah.
Somebody down the line's counting on you to do the right thing.
Yeah, so it gets the next one. Yep.
Absolutely.
The dominoes were lined up there in Missouri because that building was just, for me to find that card, just to get hold of that guy and say, I don't even remember what part of the world this is in.
Yeah, and if we go all the way back, what if you'd have thought, I've got a good life. I'm not.
yeah.
I'll teach Sunday school. I'll do this, but
Yeah.
God, I'm not because every man that God calls don't surrender and preach.
know.
And or what if you hadn't moved up here? What if you hadn't
know.
give up your job?
I
What if
know.
you could just go back and
I know,
what if
it's
them- What
scary.
if them
It's-
people in Alabama years ago, 100 years ago, decided it was too much trouble to come all the way up here and
Yeah,
start a
and
church?
start a church up here on
it's
the hill.
just so, and that's what I'm saying. Just if God wants you to do something, there's a domino effect, and there's people down the line tomorrow, next year, maybe 100 years from now, that's counting on you doing the right thing.
I was preached the other night the value of one. Me and Brother Sanders
Yeah.
talking about it being how good it, because I really broke it down that one person can, think of the Billy Grahams of this world that
Yeah.
reached
Yeah.
millions.
Yep.
And you remember we was up there. You've been up there too, where the place where they had that prayer meeting that night.
Oh yeah.
up there in that
yeah.
college.
Yep. Just outside
And,
of LaPorte. Yeah.
and they prayed all night long with Billy Graham, and he went. I mean,
Yeah.
what if he just said, "No, I can't do it. I'm nervous.
Yeah.
But the worst, another problem I see sometimes is people that's too eager and they get ahead of God because
That's
they're
dangerous.
not qualified, or maybe I ain't gonna say qualified as far
They're
as
not
biblically.
ready.
They're biblically qualified, but they're
Yeah.
not qualified to jump into the pastoring yet. They need
Yeah.
to sit somewhere and learn. And
because you got to be emotionally ready. You got to
Oh,
be
gosh,
spiritually ready. You got to be.
Your
you got to have
family.
some knowledge and some wisdom. Your family's got to.
Family's got to
And
be.
God will line all that stuff up, and God will take care of. Brother Jim Chandler calls it frustrated ambition.
yes,
I mean, you got the zeal of God, but not according to knowledge. But God knows what He's doing. God, just take your time, just slow down, but do it. And start making plans and preparations and do it. And you teenagers, don't do something stupid going to ruin your chances.
yeah. How many times could you've been killed or died through
yeah.
so many.
Yeah, that's
And-
another podcast there.
And God just, and mine was completely different because I had it made. I had the American dream. I mean, college degree and the job I always wanted.
Yeah.
We were serving God. It wasn't like I was, I'd had my bad times in
Yeah.
college. Don't get me wrong. I did my partying, but I never did no drugs or nothing like that. I'm the guy that didn't have to have drugs to act like you're on
Yeah.
drugs.
Yeah.
And-
Yeah.
But you know what I mean. The other side of it, it don't matter if you're got it made, or if you're where you is at in a jail cell. It's God
Yeah.
uses all kinds of people.
But we
and
both grew up having it made. We both grew up in Strawberry,
Yeah.
Arkansas, and my goodness, the 70s and
we've
80s.
known each
and,
other all our lives.
And I tell everybody I had to leave it to Beaver childhood.
Yep.
And then
You
Brother
did.
Jason Sprouse told me one time, he said, every good thing that you had in your childhood, I said, yeah. He said, I didn't have none of them.
Yeah.
And we both end up same
You were
place.
raised right. That's the thing
Yeah.
about it.
And we both end up same place.
I
That's
know.
how stupid I was.
Uh,
But yeah, man, God's just been good
Yeah.
to me. It's just been amazing. I got no complaints.
I mean,
I got no complaints. I got more
we-
money than my wife can spend.
they
Well, I don't really. But
they don't nobody
she'll probably
know.
watch this.
They don't nobody know how many times that we rely on each other,
Mm-hmm.
and we've got other friends in ministry, but there's really none any closer than you
Yeah.
are to me that
Yeah.
when it gets tight and tough.
Oh yeah, yeah. Yeah,
I
'cause
pulled in
some-
one day at church
yeah.
on Sunday afternoon, and I didn't know by the time I got down here to this big pecan tree down here. I mean, I can tell you where I was at when I pulled in. I just called Brother Robert and I said, "Man, you're gonna have to talk me through this. I don't even want to be here tonight. And I mean, I don't want to quit. I don't know what's going on. And I remember you went, well.
Yeah. Hold up. Now, was y'all still supporting us? Was y'all still sending us money then? I'm like, hold up a minute.
He's still
now.
sending me money. Yeah, no. But I mean, I just was in one of them spots where very few people in this world I trust in that spot. Yeah. You know what I mean? You don't just call because most people that ain't a pastor wouldn't understood, and then most people that's not been through it. But we've been through some really tough times in the ministry, and we've relied on each other. And you've been there when I needed you, and I hope I've been there when you need me, and we just make it work. God's been good to us, and
we've been to some services.
we've been
to services where they were Calvinist.
Yeah,
and we've been to services where they were anything but. And we've been
through some. I told my church the other day. I said I'm gonna write a book. I said I'm telling you, I'm gonna write a book, but I ain't releasing it till I'm dead. Because I'm gonna call some of y'all out.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
And
make up stuff.
Yeah.
Just make up stuff.
Tell about
that time we got in a shootout for street preaching or something. I mean, just make up things.
But we've got that kind of life together, and it's been awesome. And God's doing great things in Missouri. It's just amazing. I've been up there. You say you've been there nearly 15 years. And I've been up there from the very first revival there till when I was up there the other day and preached for them.
Matter of fact, my pulpit up there came from y'all's old church.
Yeah, that's
building.
my first pulpit too. Yeah. And I told them the other night. I said, you've had lots of good groups through the years, but I said, boy, you got a good foundation right now. And just I mean, I could feel it from somebody that just walked in and preached to them, and I said, you got a lot of good pieces right now.
Yeah, and they come back. They return Sunday night and Wednesday night. I mean, it's really amazing what to do. Here, a couple of weeks ago, I had a month ago. I don't know. Time gets away. I don't even know what day it is, but time gets away from me. But I had Brother Curt, because our church is at a pivotal point right now, and he's done it. He's took a church from where we are to where they are, and then I had him ask him to come up and preach and try to help our church for the next phase, and man, he just done such a great job. And I would trust him or his assistant, Brother Shannon, with my people, any time. But I wouldn't trust him with my deer stand, but I'd trust him with everything else.
Well, I knew you hadn't said nothing about a deer stand.
Yeah, I just dropped my case pocket knife on the floor too.
I've got really good. I've got deer hunting places I wouldn't trust you with either. So that's what I told church the other day. It takes somebody special to let you hunt a big buck they got on their.
Well, you wouldn't have to worry about me. I mean, because typically
you wouldn't have to worry about me.
I seen a thing on Missouri Deer Hunters.
If you'd hunt down there in the field, you'd kill it.
I seen a thing on Missouri Deer Hunters, a Facebook page this morning. I was scrolling through that looking, and it said, if your hunting career was a movie title, what would it be? And you got all these people putting Predator and Rambo. I put Dumb and Dumber.
Yeah, that's it. That's it.
That's my deer hunting career. Yeah.
I was thinking about that the other day. The song titles, whether they're 80s rock or country or whatever that describes you best, and I thought, I guess mine would be You Say It Best When You Say Nothing at All by Keith Whitley, because I always wanted to sing it at church, but I just don't fit for church.
Just don't fit for church.
And I can't sing good, but I thought they'll get it,
Well, yeah.
They'll be sitting there going, is he talking about us?
Now you got me thinking.
Yeah.
All my rowdy friends have settled down. Brother Randall said he wants to preach that in a message title. Get a pastor's conference, get over at GBI or something like that.
Yeah, that sounds about right. We come up with some really good. I guess that's why people show up on Sunday. They know we love God.
Or when people quit and leave your church, thank God in Greyhound she's gone. You know.
Well, a lot of churches, they walk the aisle to join churches, come up front and join the church and whatever by later, whatever you want to, whatever you do. But they come up the front, and I said, well, when they're leaving, they would have to come back and walk up the front and say, we're leaving,
leaving,
so everybody can, say,
and everybody applauds.
Everybody go, bye. You don't vote, you just go, bye. But
I told them one time walking out, and they said, Brother Robert, we love you. And I said, shut up and keep going.
See, this is raw. You get the real stuff. This is what. We should call this what pastors won't say. That should have been our podcast.
That'll be our next one. That'll be our next one. Yeah, you come up and get on Life and Bible podcast with Robert Randolph, and you come. I told him I was going to commercial for my own podcast, but
there you go.
And but we need to do. I was talking on the phone the other day. I said, well, what kind of notes? What kind of preparation? He said, oh, we're unscripted. I said, yeah, that's a good idea.
It just wouldn't be the same if we tried to go down through a script.
No, it wouldn't be the same.
Yeah,
for sure.
But you've talked about your church and talked about your testimony, what God's done for you in your life, from the mud to a mansion.
Yeah.
You're a perfect example.
Every aspect of my life God has blessed every aspect of it. I went to the doctor yesterday. They done all the blood work and all that kind of stuff. Every once in a while I go, and man, they said you're healthier than you ought to be at nearly 55. So
I always told the story about you and just to let people know this is serious.
Okay.
When you and Johnny was over at that Walmart,
Walnut Ridge,
and looking at batteries.
Yep.
And your testimony was to the point where I walked in and I was going to go talk, and then I seen what y'all was looking at, and the first thing I thought of was lithium batteries or whatever.
Oh yeah,
for meth.
yeah. Hadn't eaten days, hadn't slept either.
And looked terrible, both of them.
Oh,
but
yeah.
to be honest, I seen Johnny and I thought I may holler at Johnny, and I seen Brother Robert and I was like, no, I know what they're doing, and I'm not. And I've always felt bad that I didn't. I mean, you just never know what you might be able to do. But it took God getting you in a spot that.
Oh yeah.
It never hurts for us to show love to everybody. Like I said, the value of one. But
yeah,
I hope that and I know your brother Roger. I know I really worked Roger right there he's picking up some medicine one day at Walmart pharmacy, and he'll tell you that he still remembers me inviting him to church and saying, "Listen,
you've been a big influence on a lot of people."
I try to leave but I'll never forget that. And then it wasn't long you got saved, and I was like, then I felt bad about not talking to you, but then I also felt.
Well, see, here's the problem. That was probably God hindering you, Holy Ghost. Like Paul, he wouldn't let him go where he wanted to go, and because I wasn't. Now I always had respect for you, as a guy. Because, we always got along and all that stuff. But it, it probably wouldn't have.
But that tells you where you was at. We was at two places in life, and mine wasn't that. Now I'll talk to anybody, and you will too.
Yeah.
But it just something happened, and then after that, all that worked out, and I thank God that that I didn't.
And the more I get away from, the longer I live, the more the longer I am from that testimony, the more ashamed I am by it.
Oh yeah. Well, me and you went somewhere one night preaching something, I guess, and you left your rig over at Lynn, and the cops had run your license plate. The next day or so, you said, everybody on the scanners heard that the cops was running my license plate.
Yeah.
And you said, this, and I said, Brother Robert, it ain't going. That's going to follow you for a while. You just got to keep. Yeah. We know where you was at. You was with me, and and we went on.
Yeah.
So now me and you together ain't always a good thing.
That night we went looking for that one old boy. Remember that?
I know you can. Yeah, I went through a lot of trouble too. I was down here running my tail off, serving this church at the beginning, and then you called me and say, "Hey, can you meet me and go with me somewhere?" And I said, "Yeah." And I jumped in the truck, and then you start telling me why we was going like a hitman.
Yeah.
And you was like, "You got any weapons or something?" I'm like, where are we going? And gosh, that story and
we won't tell it all.
We won't say much about it because I think I know some of the people now.
I was pastoring over at Tuckerman at the time too.
Yeah, they just didn't pay. They lied to you.
Lied. Lied about them.
And we didn't go to hurt them. You went to let them know I know the truth, and you lied to me.
But we wasn't going to let them hurt us either. So we'll just leave it at that. Yeah.
And then we drove up on a wreck. Somebody laying out in the middle of the road, which I've dealt with all the first. I'm now taking care of somebody laying out on the road. It was like, it was a bad wreck. And remember you sitting there going, we had a heck of a day.
Yeah, I think that's God trying to slow us down.
Yeah.
But anyway.
You was like, you put your suit jacket on. You said, I don't want to forget that I'm a preacher and do something stupid.
Yeah.
And then you opened it up and had like a big Bowie knife in it, or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I still got that Kershaw knife with a gut hook on it. I was still a little raw then. I was still a little rough around the edges. It took me a while my heart got clean, my soul got connected and got saved, and
we still carry weapons, or I do. But
I am a weapon.
Yeah, but yeah. When
assault.
When you wear a long sleeve shirt, you got two concealed weapons.
Guns, it depends on who it is. I mean, I can make a snowflake melt with just a sentence, probably. So
gosh,
I am a weapon.
But we've done that. Oh my gosh, every day was a journey. Every time he calls, say, "Hey, can we go?"
Every time my phone rings and it says Curt Howard on it, I think, all right,
here we go.
This is gonna be fun.
Man,
wonder what we're doing now.
We've cried. We've done a little bit of everything.
We've shouted. We've cried. We've prayed.
I'm glad to have good friends.
You remember that? We need to get a podcast with a bunch of our preacher buddies sitting around a table and with one boom mic, so we can all talk. And remember that night over at GBI, we all went in there in Brother Derek's office and started praying. And my goodness, heaven showed up. That was
one of the few times that and I hate to say it, but one of the times I'll never forget it.
Yeah.
I
was afraid to open my eyes.
Me and Brother Derek was at the end of that thing, and my goodness, time it got to us, it was just smooth out of the way and let God. And I know most people would have thought it was creepy or weird.
Yeah.
But you got 10 or 12 preachers all in up, because I remember somebody said, "We just need to pray. We're going through a lot." And I said, "Would it be all right, Brother Derek, we go in your office and just get down?"
After class.
Let's not just stand here and pray. Let's get serious. And we got down on the floor, man, on our knees, and gosh, God. That was one of the 2-3 times I remember that I really felt it fall down, and that was a game changer for me. I've been in a few of those.
Yeah. And
I
he's
don't know why
preached
we
for
don't-
me. I don't know how many times, and I've preached for him, and
It's
man,
good.
it's just been good. There's no better life than serving the Lord.
No, there's not.
No better life.
I've got good peace with God,
Yep.
and I make mistakes, but man, you can't love somebody too much. You just
Right.
love them, and
Yep.
and Brother Robert's real. That's the thing about us. We're just real. We don't sugarcoat. We don't, and our hearts are broke a lot, but we also
But there's somebody out there just like me. What just needing.
I've got a bunch out here every Sunday
I got a
that's
bunch
got
in my
your
place, too.
testimony, man. Hey, God just and
Oh,
and they were snubbed in some churches. I don't even know the names of all of them, but
I
what I'm
don't
saying,
even
they were.
understand that.
but-
I understand it, but I don't get that. But
Well, some churches say, "What are you bringing to us?" When we ought to be saying, as a church, "What are we bringing to you?"
yeah.
We got something for
yeah,
you.
people get turned off by modern day religion. And I don't blame them. I'm turned off by it too.
Yeah.
A lot of it.
Yeah,
You know,
there's a lot of things.
Now
that-
I'm for church. I'm for church. But
I think I've always said it's the McDonald's mentality that we got our food is just whatever. Everywhere, I like your fries, but whatever. I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah.
But then they put a playground in the middle of it.
there you go.
They put a playground in them, and that way they knew if we can get the kids there, then we get.
Oh,
And
yeah.
some churches, I
Yeah.
think, use the mentality that
Yeah.
if we can appeal to this group, it'll bring that group and do this, and it becomes a playground if you ain't careful. And
Yep.
I ain't beating up no particular one because I got friends and all
just
of them.
name 'em.
and they're
Just-
preaching Jesus. No, they're.
Yeah. When
I
you're
mean,
on my podcast, we'll
I'm-
start naming them.
I've actually reached out to people I didn't always agree with the way they have church, but when they was hurt, I heard they was
Oh
hurt.
well, yeah,
And you will, too.
yeah.
And we
absolutely.
got friends
Oh, yeah.
that's got all
Yeah.
kinds of different churches, but
Sure.
but and
But I still like give them a hard time.
oh, I do too. I give them a hard time, and they know that, but they
will
love
me.
me, and I love them.
Yeah, they will
And-
me. I want to have Brother Curt on my podcast up there, Life and Bible with Robert
Life and
Randolph.
Bible.
Yeah, look it up. We're on some of them things, and
Yeah.
we're not as fancy. I don't.
Oh, I think you probably are.
well,
We're not fancy.
my studio don't look near like this one does.
Well, we're
Behind the scenes
That
of my
was
studio
Casey
looks like
Howard,
something blowed
Casey
up.
Cleaver, Casey Howard Cleaver Howard.
I got
whatever.
carpet on the walls in my
Brandon's
studio.
wife.
See?
Yeah, my daughter. Yeah, she jumped on this stuff and got it done. So I have to move so you can see the mud to
Oh yeah.
sign.
Yeah. Let's move.
Oh, you're just in front of a little deer horn. So.
See, you gotta for good luck.
They tore my-
You gotta rub the horn.
Yeah.
For good luck. Yep. You gotta rub the horn. So
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But we'll
get my knife. Go ahead.
Get your knife down there. He dropped his pocket knife. We got to talk about
y'all
knives.
look at this. I want y'all to look at this.
That's an
This-
old case
this
knife.
knife right here. It's a case knife. Can y'all see it? I can't see around the camera. It's got
I see it, yeah.
It's got a belt clip on it.
Oh yeah,
Man,
They
that's
usually don't
I'm
put them
telling
on
you,
them.
and that blade and blades right there. It's got two blades in it, and
all you need.
see, looky there, and let's get a good,
Yeah, it's
let's get
good.
a
You can see it real good right there.
Yeah,
Oh
see
yeah,
there?
I got
That's-
one in my office.
got
Somebody
that.
gave me.
Well, I had to buy mine.
Okay.
But I found that at a knife store in Mountain View, Arkansas, with that clip on it.
Mine don't have a clip on it.
And well,
I-
you had to buy your own to get the clip on it. But I picked it up off the floor there, and I bought it. And
I got a John 3:16, I think. Got scripture John 3:16 on it or
Well,
something like
nanny
that. Then I
boo-boo.
got another one somebody
Ain't
gave me the
you
other day.
special.
That's which opens real fast.
oh
yeah,
oh yeah, I like him.
it's a dandy. Yeah.
Yeah.
But they God's but anyway, God's been good to us. He gives us good sharp knives. That's why I cut my artery in my arm, with when we was in Kansas. And
Yeah.
sharp knives, they're dangerous.
Sharp knives take lives.
That Bible's
Hey,
sharp.
yeah, sharp knives matter.
And they do matter. I
Yeah.
guarantee you.
Yeah,
We but anyway, I appreciate you stopping by. And
we're off the rails now.
We're off the rails. We've shared a few.
My
laughs.
sugar's
We
getting
got-
low.
we-
I'm gonna have to. That's why
Well,
I'm
Tiffany's
act-
out there waiting on you.
That's
so
why
she
I'm
can give
acting
you a big
like
old
I
kiss
am.
on the
I
mouth
need
and
to
see
get
if-
something.
revive
That'll
you.
send me into a coma.
Yeah,
I take.
get the sugar sweats, man. You start sweating. Say, man, I've eaten too much cake or something. I told him that's what I always told him. I said, man, I'm gonna go kiss Sandy right on the mouth, and to the point of where, man,
Just
I'm
be overdosed
I'll
on
need
sugar.
insulin.
Yeah.
I need an
La-
insulin shot.
There's a woman in our church scared to death of snakes, terrified of them. So I put a little rubber snake in her songbook holder last night. And she come to church and thought she was going to have a runaway. I said, now, if y'all want to know I'm scared of anything, I'm scared of honey buns and Twinkies. They terrify me.
Oh, don't bring them to
And
you.
Smarties, I'm terrified.
Don't
So,
bring them to you.
Don't throw them at me or
No,
nothing.
don't bring them. They'll scare you to death.
All right, you trying to wrap this thing up? We
No,
went
we
too
can talk
long
all day.
now.
I'll use you as long as you're here. We will go eat something though in a minute.
I'm for that.
And I'll buy your lunch. And
Well, you don't have to do that, but I ain't
yeah.
gonna stop you. I ain't
Well,
gonna argue with you.
nobody's ever gave you a knife. I might have to find you one sometime.
Well,
You are a knife. You like knives. I do too.
I do like them, man.
You go to that place in Gatlinburg over.
Been there.
Yeah. You was over there when we was there.
Yep.
Yeah, we all
Yeah,
remember we were together.
Gatlinburg
Oh
Knife
my
Works,
goodness,
yeah.
wasn't that 3 levels of knives?
It overstimulates me.
It does me
I
too. I can't
have
hardly
to
walk through there. I want to buy
I
one
have
of
to take
everything.
dope before I go in there and.
My
chill
son-in-law
out.
did. He started by the time we got 30 foot. He
Yeah.
had like 3 or 4 knives already carried. I said,
Yeah.
dude, we've got to.
You got to.
This is gonna take all day.
Yeah, he'll have swords.
Calm
and-
down. I
yeah.
mean, he had like a big old medieval. They had to carry it out for him. He couldn't even.
Oh, I love
they,
that.
He bought that
Yeah.
and they wouldn't let him carry it out like a big Kaiser blade looking
I start
thing.
getting overwhelmed. My
He cut a
daughter,
pumpkin in two
my daughter
with it.
Jessica, she'll look at me, and they used to have that Maybelline. It's Maybelline, and she'll say, "It's sertraline."
Oh,
Oh,
well,
yeah.
I'm glad your
Well,
church is doing good
man, I'm
and
glad
wonderful
y'all
people.
are
We love
too.
them, and they're a blessing up there. And
If they ever had a good pastor, they really do something.
they've got a good pastor that loves them, and that's the main thing. And it's a little different world we live in now. Even I've been 21 years in, and what'd you say? You're 24 or 5? Or
Yeah, I don't know. It's
Yeah.
2001.
okay,
So
yeah, okay, right at
we'll
24
let
years.
We'll let a mathematician figure
But
that out.
but things have changed, and I'm glad we've not on the main menu. but
Yeah.
We obviously are. There's technology now, so
And we're older than we
we're
were
older,
25
yeah.
years ago.
we are. So,
Yeah.
but we appreciate you guys. I just
Man,
wanted
I
to
appreciate you
introduce
letting
you
me
to my
come
buddy, Brother Robert. And the best way to do it is sit here and talk about
Yeah.
stuff. But there may be somebody out there hurting and really understand your testimony where you're at, and it takes those little things turn into huge things from
Yeah.
remembering a scripture
Yeah.
or something.
Yeah, if
That
you're-
word have I hid in my heart. That
Yeah, and
sometimes
if you're in a bad way, I mean, whatever it could be a million. It might not be drugs and alcohol. It might be divorce. Might be finance. Might be. If you're in a bad way, I promise you, it don't matter where you're at. If you're in the United States of America, it don't matter where you're at. There's a church that'll love you.
Yeah.
You just got to find them. There's a church that'll love you. They'll help you. They'll be there for you, and there's a pastor out there that'll love you and just be honest with you about what God expects out of your life and how to get saved if you're lost. And man, I mean, it's just. But there is a church out there that'll help you. There really
I believe
is.
that. I believe
Yep.
that, and that's why God's blessed our churches. Is we obviously not the best speakers, preachers, orators, whatever. Not the best at a lot of things.
Oh,
but,
yeah.
But you won't find anybody. I don't think you'll find anybody that loves people as much as Brother Robert and loves God and that's what I try to do in my ministry. Is I've learned the value of one. I've
Yeah.
learned the value of
Yeah.
one. So, and right here's one today. There's
Yeah.
one of my best friends and with me, and that's the value of one right there. God used somebody from the mud, man, cleaned them off,
Yeah.
set them on a rock, and established his goings.
Put a
And
new
it's-
song in my mouth.
Even
Yeah.
praises unto him.
Yeah.
Many shall see it.
And fear and trust in
Yeah,
the Lord.
trust in the Lord. That's it.
See, we finish each other's verses.
Yeah. That's the way we are when we're together.
That's the way we are when we're together. Yeah.
Nobody
Yeah.
needs to be with us because they're not going to get to talk.
That's exactly right. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Brother Shannon sit over there and he's just thumbs up.
I've seen
'cause
him shaking his head a couple of
yeah,
times.
he's scared of snakes too.
I think that
though, so when
sertraline
you-
comment got him over a while ago.
But we appreciate Brother Shannon too because he does. Without all that part on that end, this would not happen. So he's our producer. I call him
Hey,
Mr. Producer.
the producer. He's a good one too.
Yeah, he is. And
I appreciate you, Brother Curt, letting me come on today
hey,
and
you're very
inviting me.
welcome.
And
thank you so much.
and,
I'll let you and
man.
Tiffany go on and head to revival, and we'll grab something to eat.
Yeah.
Works for me.
All right. Yes, sir.
Thank y'all. We love you. God bless you. And tune in next time. We don't know what we'll be doing next time on this deal. But we will be we're giving God the glory unless it's them guys talking about
We're gonna get him
sports.
on. We're gonna get him on our podcast up there in Missouri.
Amen.
Too. And-
I'll be up here soon. Thank y'all. God bless you.